Okay, so y'all remember when Duchess said she bought Joe's name, Mrs.Netta?
I posted it already. I bought it. Thank you for your purchase. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm not familiar with the whole trademark infringement, buying trademarks and stuff like that, but this for just for content. So Darius Cooks decided to weigh in.
There is, a lot of historical things that have occurred, things that have gone on, things that have happened, whereby this has already been etched in the mind of the viewer, right? So nobody is ever going to associate the name or the legacy of Miss Netta with whatever it is that you have going on, whether it's new or not. Like, you gotta think about both parts of this. You gotta think about the fact that there is a name that somebody has, right? So the name Miss Netta, and think about all of the experiences that Miss Netta has had, right? Those are things that so like you have all the experiences that go with the name. And so in a positive light, you would say, okay, I'm gonna trademark the name Gold Peak Tea because, in the mind of the consumer, this leaves a positive experience. You see what I'm saying? So you would go, okay, it makes sense to trademark this because this has some value to it. You trademarking somebody's name who, if I could be honest with you, ain't really been in the most positive light the last little bit of time, then it's like, what's the use in doing it? The other piece of this you got to think about too. And I heard I didn't hear all of it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I heard part of it. But one of the things that she said was, every time you use your name, you're gonna have to pay me. That's what Duchess said. Duchess said to Netta, every time you use your name, you're going to have to pay me. That's what she said. Duchess, how? How? Like, do you even know how intellectual property works? Do you even know how the process even goes? Okay, granted, you trademarked it. Granted, if you were given the trademark, you were given the trademark. Beautiful, fine, no problem. Step one is you have to issue a cease and desist, right? Netta can't really read. So he not going to really understand what the cease and desist is. So that means that you would need to send the cease and desist from a licensed lawyer to Netta, right? That's step number one. In order for you to send the cease and desist and to prove that they actually got receipt of the cease and desist, you got to have the man's address. You have to have a read receipt from the man's email. Like, you have to have some sort of proof, some sort of way that you have identified there's a breach. You have reached out to say stop. And the cease and desist is only a warning. It's, if you do not stop doing this, I will seek legal action. Okay? Okay. Legal action means you have to also retain a lawyer. This is America. You can't sue nobody by yourself. I mean, you could, but realistically, you would need to have a lawyer represent you. In order to have a lawyer represent you, you would need to do what is called a retainer for a lawyer. No lawyer is working for free, especially when it comes to trademarking intellectual property. You heard Netta read. He don't know how to read. Joe not that smart. Y'all know this already. Come on. I'm not saying nothing you ain't never heard before. Okay?
So this part he talks about how she has to have used the name for business purposes.
Infringing upon your intellectual property. And I'm not really sure a judge is going to hear this case and go, who came up with the name Miss Netta? Well, you can't lie to the judge, so you're going to say, he did, I didn't. Well, theoretically, even though you got the trademark, it really ain't yours, and you didn't begin with it. So in good conscience, I don't really see a problem except you suing out of spite. I can't see a judge going through. Sometimes a judge might, right? They might go through with it. I just can't see that shit going. But in the event the judge does go through with it and you're seeking relief, you're asking the court for relief. Great. what kind of relief would you be looking for? Because you would need to be able to have some sort of proof to say, them infringing has now cost me X. What does it cost you? What has the infringement upon this trademark done to you financially? To you from a punitive standpoint, right? How do you prove that? The second piece beyond proving it is Netta don't have nothing to relieve you with. In order for relief to be there, there has to be some money there. You and I both could look at Netta and tell that he don't have no money. And I'm not saying that the man is flat broke. I don't know his financial aptitude. I don't know where he is financially.
So that was just a different aspect on what's going on with the Netta name trademark situation. Now, we all know Darius don't have his own stuff going on, but I figure he's been around long enough to kind of give a little input on how the situation worked with trademark infringement and stuff like that. So I guess we have to see the outcome. I don't know if Miss Netta still been using her name since Duchess said she bought it, but that's just another aspect of the situation. Let me know what you all think.